This is the final video covering the review packet. This is topic 3, segments and their lengths. For 31, we have suppose coordinate of P is -4 and PQ equals 13. What are the possible coordinates of Q? When we write two letters next to each other without a symbol on top of them, like ray or segment, what that means is, what is the distance from P to Q, or the length of segment PQ? So if I draw a number line, and we'll put P in the middle at -4. What this is telling me is to get from P to Q, I have to walk 13 spaces. Now I could walk 13 spaces this way in the positive direction, and that would give me a distance of 13. Well, -4 plus 13 would be 9. However, in a number line, that's not the only direction I can go and get a distance of 13. I could also go to the left in the negative direction, 13 spaces. And if I did that, that would be like subtracting 13. Well, -4 minus 13 would be -17. So the two possible coordinates of Q are -17 or 9. Point P is between H and G. If HP equals 3 and PG equals 5, find HG. All right, so I'll start by drawing a picture. It says point P is between H and G. So H, G, P in the middle. Well, somewhere between them. It says HP equals 3 and PG equals 5. Find HG. HG represents the length of the entire segment. So if I want to find the length of the entire segment, I just need to add the two parts together. My final answer would be HG equals 8. Number 33. R is between S and T. RS is 5x, RT is 4x plus 1, and ST equals 28. Find X, RS, and RT. This is the same setup as the previous question, but we're going to replace our rather simple numbers of 3 and 5 with these expressions. So R is between S and T. RS is 5x. I know this says SR, but RS is the same, so it doesn't matter that the letters are backwards. It's still describing the same segment. RT is 4x plus 1. And the whole distance, ST, is 28. Now last time, I did part plus part equals whole. 3 plus 5 equals 8. This time I'm going to do the same thing, but my parts are going to be 5x and 4x plus 1, and my whole distance I already know is 28. So that gives me the equation 5x plus 4x plus 1 equals 28. 5x and 4x would make 9x. And then to get x by itself, first we'll move that 1. It gives us 9x equals 27. And last, to get x by itself, divide by 9. 27 divided by 9 would be 3. Now I need to find RS and RT. RS is the segment 5x. So to figure out how long that is, I need to plug this 3 into that expression. So 5x becomes 5 times 3, which is 15. For RT, the expression is 4x plus 1. So plugging in my value of 3 for x would give me 4 times 3 plus 1. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 1 would be 13. 34. If x is the midpoint of zy, and xz is 3x plus 4, and xy is 2x plus 10, what is zy? Here's my segment zy, and it says x is the midpoint. Xz is 3x plus 4. Xy is 2x plus 10. What is zy? The key geometry term here is the word midpoint. If x is the midpoint, it means it lies exactly in the middle of this segment, meaning zx and xy are the exact same length. Because they're the same length, that means they're equal, so I could make the equation 3x plus 4 equals 2x plus 10. To get the x by itself, first I'm going to subtract 2x so I can get all the x's on the same side. 3x minus 2x would be x. And then we carry down our plus 4 and 10. Last, to get x by itself, subtract 4, and that would give me 6. Now that I have x by itself, I double check my question. It says, what is zy? Zy is this entire distance right here. So I need to plug this value of 6 into both of these expressions to figure out how big each one is, and then I can add them together to figure out the total length zy. Because this was a midpoint, if I've done everything correctly, these should come out to the exact same number. So 3x plus 4 would become 3 times 6 plus 4, and the other one, 2 times 6 plus 10. 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 4 would be 22. 2 times 6 is 12. 12 plus 10 would be 22. 22 plus 22 would give us our whole length zy, 44. 35. Circle all of the following statements that are true given line M below. All I know is that line M has been broken up into these segments: AB, BC, CD, and of course, the ones you get by combining them. I'm going to do a little color coding to try and make it a little easier to see what's going on. So here we have AB. I'm going to highlight AB in blue, and I'm going to call this the blue segment. Next up, we have CD. We'll highlight this in orange, and this will be our orange segment. CD. Next, we have AD. We'll do this in yellow. AD is the length of all of this. And finally, we'll do BC. Now, BC is only here. I can't find my pink highlighter, so I'm just going to use this pink pen. And let's see what it says. So the first one says blue segment plus orange segment equals yellow segment. Well, if we look at our picture, blue segment is here, orange segment is here, and yellow goes all the way across the top. The blue and the orange don't cover this whole distance because it doesn't have that pink part in the middle. So number 1 is not true. 2, blue segment plus pink segment equals yellow minus orange. All right, so blue plus pink would be this. The other side, yellow minus orange. Well, if I take the yellow distance and I remove the orange part of it, the only thing that would be left is the blue and the pink, which is exactly what the other side is, blue and pink. This is true. Finally, AC minus blue segment. AC is blue and pink. So if I take blue and pink and I take away blue, that just leaves me with pink. So this has to be the same as just saying BC, pink segment. The other side says AD, yellow, minus orange. Well, if I take the yellow segment and I take away the orange part of it, then I still have the blue and the pink left. So those are not the same. One of them is just the pink segment, the other one is pink and blue. 2 is the only answer. Number 36. Find the midpoint for the segment with the following endpoints: 5, -2, 8, 6. To find a midpoint, you take the average of the x coordinates and the average of the y coordinates. Usually we write it in this formula, although you don't need to use the formula if you understand that it's an average. So it'd be x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So this means take the two x values, add them together, divide by 2. My x values were 5 and 8, so this would be 5 plus 8 divided by 2. For the y coordinate of the midpoint, I'm going to average the y values. So that would be -2 plus 6 divided by 2. Now 5 plus 8 is 13. 13 divided by 2, I'm just going to leave as the improper fraction, 13 divided by 2. -2 plus 6 would be 4. 4 divided by 2 would be 2. So my midpoint, the average of the x and the y's, would be 13 over 2, or about 6.5, and 2. 37. If one endpoint of a segment has coordinates of 7, -2, the midpoint of the segment is 1, 3. Find the coordinates of the other endpoint. This is where I have to set up my problem and try and work backwards. I know one of the endpoints is at 7, -2. That's like starting at 7, -2. The midpoint is where I got to halfway through my journey. So halfway, I ended up at 1, 3. And I need to figure out where I'm going to be at the end. Well, in order to get from the endpoint's x value of 7 to the midpoint of 1, I had to go down 6 units for x. Well, if that was half the journey, then the other half of the journey means I need to go down another 6 to get all the way to the end. Well, when down 6 once halfway, it means I need to go down 6 to get all the way. 1 minus 6 would be -5. For the y values, I went from -2 to +3. Well, that means I went up 5 for y. So to get to the end, I need to go up 5 again. 3 plus 5 would be 8. So the other endpoint would be located at -5, 8. Finally, find the distance between point C at -5, 4 and point D, 1, 12. It's asking me about distance, so this would be a good time to use the distance formula. Our distance formula is this. D equals the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, all underneath that square root. Second x value, first x value, second y value, first y value. So looking at my ordered pairs, second x value would be 1. So inside this first parentheses would be 1 minus. First one is -5. Notice how this made a double negative for me. For my y values, y2 would be 12, y1, 8. And both of those squared. Now I need to simplify these. 1 minus -5 would be the same thing as 1 plus 5, 6. 12 minus 8, 12 minus 4, my mistake. 12 minus 4 would be 8. And both of those are still squared and underneath that square root. Now that I have those simplified, I need to square them. 6 squared would be 36. 8 squared would be 64. Combine them. 36 plus 64 would be 100. And now I need to simplify this. Now, if this were something that other than a perfect square, I would have to make a factor tree and start pulling stuff out from underneath the radical. However, 100 is a perfect square. A square root means what number times itself equals this? Well, 10. 10 times 10 is 100, so the square root of 100 would be 10.